So, Drake, let's talk a little bit,
Yep.
if we could, about Renegade Manufacturing, your manufacturing company, and let's talk a
Yep.
little bit about. You've got some new rod holders. You kind of got a new project going on. Talk about those, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. So Renegade Manufacturing, I mean, everyone wants to be a full-time pro fisherman, but it's not doable for everyone. So what I do is I actually manufacture fishing lures for companies, kind of all over the world. But we wanted to do something a little more, so we ended up coming up with some rod holders, some tracks, graph mounts, a little bit of everything, live scope poles or active target poles. We're just kind of getting into it now. We're 6 months into it, and we're kind of feeling ourselves out, but it's going good. We had a few unique features that are on our rod holders, with the number rings and how we created our cradle, and a few other things. So it kind of set us apart. So it's been going great. It's up in Meltona is where our shop is, Minnesota, and to be able to, it's my way of staying into the industry, as much as we possibly can. You and I both love this sport and everything about it. So the more we can stay into it and the more we can do for it, the better off we're going to be. So it's been great, and I'm super excited to where it's going.
Spot on. Yeah, absolutely. I've heard nothing but good about your products. So, Drake, before I let you go, talk, if you would, because you and I have talked about this on television, but I don't think it gets hit on nearly as much as it should. When you look at Minnesota and you look at the fishing hotspots, people think of Brainerd, they think of Lake of the Woods, Red Lake, Bemidji, Grand Rapids, those places. Man, when it comes to multi-species fishing, I think our area of Alexandria, I'm not sure we need to take a backseat to anybody when it comes to the multi-species fishing action that we have. Would you agree with that assessment?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny. So I grew up on the Alexandria chain on Carlos. I was spoiled that way, but I didn't necessarily realize how spoiled I was until I went away for college. And then you don't have it at your back doorstep. You don't have all the lakes, all that stuff right at your back doorstep. So when you come back, you really appreciate it because we have so many lakes. And like me and you have talked about in the past, I mean, there's 300 and some lakes within 15 miles. It's crazy how many lakes we have. And you can fish whatever you want, year round, whether it's crappies, panfish, walleyes, muskies, smallmouth. I mean, you name it. We've kind of got the species in the area to do this. And I think you're going to see that, Alexandria is only roughly 40 miles from Otter Tail. I mean, it kind of ventures right into that whole area here. We got a great location in Alec. And I think more and more people are starting to realize that they don't have to go to those scenic destinations, and that Alec is one of those spots that they can stop and catch fish.
Right. Catch fish is spot on. I mean, right now, if you go out on the weed line, and I actually talked about this in the fishing report today, you get out on the weed line in any lake in the Alexandria area, you throw a Rage Swimmer on a jig head or one of the new Ned baits from Strike King, the Ned Ocho, the cutter worm, whatever it might be, on a small jig head, you're going to get bit. You're going to get bit a lot, and you don't know what you're going to catch.
Well, and that's just it. Paul Ruda and the Shields guys were here, doing their meetings, a few weeks ago, and they were just amazed at how many fish they caught when they got on the weed lines. And like you said, it was a northern, it was a walleye, it was a bass, and it could have been a smallmouth or a largemouth. They had a great time when they were here.
Right. And the cool thing about that is it's not one or two lakes. It's, like you said, a couple hundred or more lakes that have those good weed lines, and the fish are out there right now. We are like I said, I think a fishing hotspot, and we maybe don't get quite as much notoriety in the Alexandria area as we should, but we do have the fish. Drake,
we're too close to the cities. They got to drive just a little far.
Well, you know what? There's sometimes when that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So